Coming up on Prep Sports Central, some girls wrestling takes the stage as multiple 2A schools met for a competitive triangular in Ames.
A historic game of hockey as an action-packed Turkey Cup saw some interesting action on the ice.
And a hockey player whose unique story has led him and his team to a dominant start for this year's season.
Those stories and more start now on Prep Sports Central.
We teach them that if you get somebody on their back, keep them on their back, because that in the sport of wrestling scores bonus points for your team. And our girls do a really good job of when they get on top of somebody, they don't generally let them go.
Girls wrestling is in full swing as one team swept the 2A competition in Ames. Hello, I'm Abby Altman.
And I'm Nathan Porter. While it might be cold outside, things got heated up for girls wrestling as Ames hosted Marshalltown and West Des Moines for the start of conference play.
For more on this, we'll head to Delaney Peterson. Now, Delaney, this is a triangular meet, so it sounds like you've got your hands full with a lot of wrestling.
That's right. We have 3 great teams competing today, but I would say the team to look out for the most would have to be Ames. 4 out of their 5 state qualifiers from last season are returning today, and one of them being Lexi Rozovic, the 135-pound semifinalist in state.
Marshalltown started the night off strong with a 60-21 win over West Des Moines, which was capped off with a pin for Nevia Gonzalez at 2:35. Next, Ames took a 63-15 win over West Des Moines, where the team picked up 7 pins. To get the crowd going came a huge pin for the Little Cyclones' Taylor Greenlee at 170, keeping the rally going for her team. Putting the nail in the coffin was the Ames Daniela Rosa in 140 with multiple cradles and a final pin. At 145, A.K. Nolan got a tech fault to seal the deal. Finishing things off and sweeping the competition was Ames, the 50-27 win over Marshalltown and a grand total of 12 pins for the night. Ames goes to 4-1 on the season, Marshalltown 4-3, and West Des Moines 2-7.
I liked how aggressive we were tonight. We came out on the offense, we knew we could take advantage of some situations. I'm lucky, I've got a really veteran group right now, and they as seniors took charge and kind of set the tone early for us. We're really aggressive on our feet, finishing with pins and getting bonus points, so that was a lot of fun to watch, and the crowd got to enjoy it for their first home meet of the year.
Looking ahead, Ames will be competing December 9th, Marshalltown the 11th, and West Des Moines the 13th. In Ames, I'm Delaney Peterson for Prep Sports Central.
Thanks, Delaney.
Now, we'll stay on the mats as the Gilbert duels took place this past Saturday and several teams competed, hoping to set the tone for the remainder of the season. 5 teams competed in Gilbert on Saturday with the hometown Tigers matchup against the Southeast Valley Jaguars taking center stage. The match began with Gilbert's Merrick Ritland getting the pin in the 120-pound weight class, giving the Tigers an early lead. However, the Jaguars wouldn't back down from the early deficit as their 126-pound sophomore Wyatt Blair followed up this nifty escape with a pin to give Southeast Valley momentum heading into the middleweight matchups, where they began to dominate the Tigers. The Jaguars won the next 2 matches, including this pin by sophomore Keelan Wellman to take a strong lead over the Tigers, but Gilbert began to fight back as junior Mason Wilbholm stuck his competitor to give Gilbert hope. This pin began a string of victories by the Tigers as they won 5 of the final 6 duels to give Gilbert a victory with a late match surge in the heavier weight classes. Gilbert head coach talked about their success so far.
It's very early, yes, like I say, we only have 1 senior, so we're pretty young. So we're learning, we're having fun, we're working hard, and that's all I can really ask out of them. So.
The Tigers will look to continue their strong start to the season at Ogden Dual Tournament next Saturday, while Southeast Valley will look to rebound at the SCC Wrestling Quad on Thursday.
Now heading to girls basketball, where 2 dominant teams from different classes faced off for a huge statement win. Number 4 in Class 3A Des Moines Christian faced off against number 1 in Class 4A Dallas Center Grimes. The Mustangs jumped ahead early behind some great perimeter shooting from guard Macy Mayer, helping DCG to a quick 10-point lead. Des Moines Christian fought their way back as Bryn Van Mersbergen finished strong through the contact for the and one. DCG would stay hot from 3 as Ava Smid went behind the back and found Macy Mayer for another corner 3, sending this game into the second half tied at 24. The Lions came out strong as Elizabeth Owen drained a deep 3, showing that they too can hit shots from behind the arc. However, DCG could not miss, as who other than Macy Mayer would find Leah Broch for another corner three, as the Mustangs would win this one 50-40 on the road.
We got off to a great quick start, then we settled in a little bit and let them back in it, and I thought we made some good halftime adjustments, played well in the second half, did what we needed to do.
Dallas Center Grimes stays undefeated as their next game will be against Ames. Des Moines Christian, however, now looks to redeem themselves as they will play West Central Valley on Tuesday.
The boys' side of basketball saw the Boone Toreadors and Woodward Academy Knights clash as both look to start the season 2-0. The Knights came out dealing as Benny Doe quickly stole a pass to let him trot across the court for an easy layup to start off the scoring. Doe continued then to be Woodward's knight in shining armor as he drove into the lane for a tough bucket to end the first quarter. He began the second quarter the same way he started the first, stealing the ball and driving down the court, but this time traveled on the way. The Toreadors used this call to begin pulling away, with Cole Christensen getting a block on a pass and chucking it deep for Ryan Bowers, letting Boone take a 39-15 point lead into halftime and getting the fans on their feet. The Toreadors started the third quarter strong, passing around the bend to give Brandon Holm a wide open three look, which he made look easy and gave the fans even more to cheer about as the third quarter ended 50-25. The Knights simply had no response in the fourth as the Toreadors took the game 70-38, with Boone's coach already looking ahead.
You know, it's only game 2. There's 20 more to go, so long way to go and a long season, so we'll enjoy it for tonight and then we'll move on to the next game for Tuesday.
Boone will play their first conference match against 2-0 Ballard at home on the 9th, while Woodward Academy hopes to bounce back on the road against 3-0 Earlham on December 12th.
In 2002, the first Turkey Cup game between Des Moines Oakleys and the Des Moines Capitals took place. Over 20 years later, the rivalry is still alive and as fierce as ever. The Capitals played host to the Oakleys for the 23rd annual Turkey Cup for another great game in the series. The Capitals wasted no time as Luke Logson would find the net after winning a face-off just 1 minute in. That goal got the fans on their feet and set the tone early on. The Capitals would strike again as Max Myers turned a deflection into another goal to give them the 2-0 lead. Then bodies started flying as each team dished out some monstrous hits, making sure that this rivalry stayed heated. The Capitals wouldn't falter as Gage Behrens tacked on another goal to go up 3-0. But the Oakleys responded quickly with 2 goals of their own from Anderson Shizzle and Gavin Elliott in the third period. Down late, the Oakleys would pull their goalie for an extra attacker, but Jarrett Parker put the nail in the coffin with one final goal, giving the Capitals back-to-back wins in the Turkey Cup.
You know, we knew coming into the season we were going to go hard all year. We lost in the state championship last year. We got a lot of fire under our belts. As my last ever Turkey Cup, it means a lot. I mean, the team, I love these boys. It's just a great win overall. I mean, I've never done it before. It's honestly the best feeling in the world. Like, it doesn't even feel real, and it's just a blur at this point.
Max Myers led the way for the Capitals with 3 points on the night, as Jackson Fleming dominated in the crease with 22 saves. These teams will meet again on January 13th in West Des Moines. However, this time the Turkey Cup will not be on the line.
Now, we'll hear about how a hockey player is tearing it up on the ice in his return home for his senior season.
Matthew Nielsen and Holden Schirmer have the story.
I'm Gavin Elliott, and I play hockey for the Des Moines Oakleys. Yeah, so I actually started playing Learn to Play with my head coach now, Scott Long. I started when I was 4 years old. I started learning how to skate when I was 3, and then just played ever since and fell in love with it. So my freshman and sophomore year, I spent the time with the Oakleys. We had a great freshman year. We had a really good team on JV. We also had a great year in varsity, so I ended up playing both JV and varsity. It was a great year. I mean, I was small, I was little, and I played with the kid on the line. 2 really good hockey players and made my job a lot easier. My sophomore year, and actually my freshman year, we ended up getting second in state, so we had a really good year that year. And then, yeah, with my journey of leaving, I had a coach that coached me my 14-year year. He was a very good coach and wanted me to come play out in Sheridan, Wyoming in the NA3. It is the Frontier Division. He wanted me to come play out there my freshman and sophomore year, and just wasn't really, didn't really think that was for me at the time and not really where my hockey journey wanted to go. And as I just started to, put more time in and all that, the opportunity came up again for me to, go out there my junior season. And it was one of those situations where, if I look back in 5 years, am I going to regret not going, So I really didn't have much to lose and, rolled the dice and ended up loving it. And my time there was amazing, and it kind of came back to, I kind of just wanted to be a kid again. It's my senior year and play with my buddies I grew up with, and the right page, be a goldfish, right? It's in the water, so we got to look forward to this weekend. But no, the group's doing well. I think, we have a really good shot this year, and like I said, the guys are hungry. I think my goal is I want to play juniors again, so I kind of want to head out back towards that direction and pick up where I left off. And then from there, hopefully play college somewhere, depending on how that goes. But yeah, just keep, loving the game and enjoying it while I can, so.
Gavin and the Oak Leafs look to keep their strong season going with a matchup against the Dubuque Saints on Saturday, December 13th.
Now with Rapid Fire Rundown, we are glad to welcome Taten and Eighmy. Welcome in.
Thanks for having me, guys. A lot of big news happened last month in the football world as 6 champions were crowned in Iowa High School State.
Yeah, we had some great championship games. What part of those games stood out most to you?
Yeah, absolutely. In 5A, Dowling Catholic beating Iowa City Liberty 27-10. Dowling's 11th state title ever, but their first 5A state title. In 4A, Xavier beat Pella 31-6. Xavier gets their 5th state title. In 3A, Nevada beat Bishop Heelan 27-6. That was a run for Nevada as they beat the number 1 and number 2 team. They're on that way to a title. They're first. In Class 2A, Kemper Catholic beat Van Meter 28-7. That's Kemper's 2nd ever state title. In Class 1A, West Lyon beat Iowa City Regina 34-27. And then in Class A, MMCRU beat St. Ansgar to get their 6th state title. And then in 8-man, Bishop Garrigan won a thriller over Woodbine 44-22, scoring 30 points in the 4th quarter. Crazy comeback for Bishop Garrigan to get a state title.
Yeah, well, let's move over to basketball. What are some of your boys' basketball predictions for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I've got 4 teams picked out of each class, I think, or 1 team per class that I think is going to really stand out this year and be, it's based off of rankings, preseason rankings, and returning athletes as well. In Class 4A, Waukee Northwest is the team I think that people have to look out for. In Class 3A, I think it's Storm Lake. Class 2A, Grandview Christian, they were in the state semifinals last year. And then in Class 1A, St. Edmund, I think, is the team to look out for.
Yeah, and then going to the girls' side, because we have some great girls' teams this year. So what are those teams you're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. Dowling Catholic, I think in 5A is one of the best teams. I mean, obviously Johnston 26-0 last year, state title win. Obviously, you have to respect to them, but Dowling Catholic has just looked great, and I think that they will be good. In 4A, Dallas Center Grimes, they made the state semifinals last year. In Class 3A, I think the team to look out for is Williamsburg. They made the state semifinals last year. In Class 2A, I think Trainer is a really solid team. They're returning a ton of athletes back. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of do. And then in Class 1A, Bishop Garrigan, I know we just talked about them winning a football state title. I think that they could make a good run at it in girls basketball.
Yeah, well, Taten, let's talk about girls wrestling. It's been revamped over the last couple of years, so what can we be expecting this season?
Yeah, absolutely. Girls wrestling, like you said, has been great over the last few years. We've got 9 returning state champions in Class 2A. Raccoon River Northwest was the team champion. They're returning 1 state champion as well, so that'll be interesting. And then in Class 1A, they're returning 6 champions as well. Yeah,
well, thank you for joining us, Taten. And thank you, as this concludes our premiere season of Prep Sports Central. We want to thank Chris Cuellar from the Iowa Athletic Association for his generous support of the series.
Thanks also go to John Schaefer, Jake Anderson, and Ben Duggins from the Iowa State Student Innovation Center for their expertise in assisting our broadcast. For our entire crew at Prep Sports Central, I'm Abby Altman.
And I'm Nathan Porter. Thanks for joining us this year, and now we leave you with our moment of the week.
Our 2025 Turkey Cup comes to a close. the outstanding environment.